Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Mwangi. Welcome to the Best Kept Secrets podcast, where my guest and I share our best kept secrets on a variety of topics. So today we're going to be speaking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, which is depression and how I found happiness after depression. So let's go back to the essence of it, yani from the beginning, which is my first depressive episode, which was, I think, in my 4th year of uni. That's the first time that I can say that I knew I was depressed. So, around that time, I went through a very traumatic event, and it triggered me into deep depression. So for many months, I think it was my last semester of uni, which of course kuna pressure mob and all of these things, but literally I had no desire to do anything. I had no will to go to class, to do my assignments, to do nothing. Like, I literally just didn't have the motivation or the desire to do anything. So I stayed in bed all day. I never opened my curtains. I sat in the dark. I barely ate. I barely showered. I think I only used to go to one class per week, which was a psychology class. So I enjoyed it. So everything else, I could be least bothered about it. And I remember my friends noticed that there was something off. So they would come to my, I had like a little bed sitter that I used to live in just like outside of school. So they would come, just like make sure that I've eaten, like open my curtains, just be like, Sharon, you can't do this. Like, you need to get out of bed. So I'd be like, yeah, tomorrow, I'm going to leave. Tomorrow I'm going to go here. But I would never do that. So that's when I discovered Game of Thrones, and I ended up watching 5 seasons of Game of Thrones because that's the only thing my brain wanted to do. Like, I just could not, I didn't have it in me to do anything else. And I remember I cried a lot. I just, questioned a lot of things, but then I would just distract myself by like just watching the series so I didn't have to be in my thoughts. So I remember at some point I was like, you know what? Why do I have to be alive? Why do I have to stay alive and keep thinking these thoughts? Why do I have to keep feeling this pain? Why do I have to keep feeling these feelings that I am feeling? And my brain just conjured up the great idea to just end it all. And so I took some pills, and I hoped that I would not wake up the next day, but I didn't die. Thank God, I am still here. But yes, I did attempt suicide. And even then, I don't think I knew how bad it was. I think I was just like, yeah, okay, fine. I guess I'm still alive. I guess I'm, another day to try again. And then I somehow was able to finish that semester, but then that was the semester that leads up to Christmas. So a lot of my time in December, I partied a lot, I drank a lot, and I wasn't even much of a drinker, but I drank a lot. Just trying to numb the pain, trying to numb the feelings. And then I got into a situationship that kind of like acted as a distraction, so I didn't have to think about the feelings or process the feelings anymore. So he came in, he distracted me, and he also had gone through the same thing. So I think we were just like offering each other like a distraction of some sort. So I think for the next 2 years after that, I was living a distracted life. I wasn't fully aware. I was just floating through life, just being distracted, to be honest. I don't think I was actually present, like in my body and in my mind. I don't think I was present. So fast forward 2 years later, I've graduated, I'm working my first job, and now I'm in a stable relationship to the point where the guy has met my brother, my parents know about him, the internet knows about him. Like I was doing vlogs with him and everything, and then all of a sudden I just find out that he's still like seeing his ex behind my back. I confront him about it, and he says, you know what, Sharon, I think you need to start learning how to detach yourself from me. So I'm like, what? Like, I mean, I thought we're getting married and we're happy and like you've met my family. Now I need to start learning how to detach myself from you. I just didn't understand like how we could go from 100 to 0, right? So at some point we did end up like now breaking up, because I'd already been warned, by the way, anza kudetach because I'm gonna leave you soon. So he did actually end up leaving, and I think the week after we broke up, he was on a trip in the coast with his ex that he has now started seeing again, and that triggered me so badly because he was posting, yeah, wifey, I don't like, I was just like, are you like okay? So that just like, I think in my mind I was like, this is it for me, right? And I've really struggled relationship wise, so I was like, okay, this is it for me. And then for just like my bubble to be busted and like for me to be like taken away from that really did a number on my mental health, and it triggered me back into my depression. At the same time, I was working this 9 to 5 that I absolutely hated. Not that there's anything wrong with 9 to 5s, but I personally hated it. It was a very toxic work environment. Like it just wasn't like it wasn't giving basically. And my boss would say very mean things to me. Like it was just not a great time for me. At the same time, I am living in my parents' house. I'm taking like 4 matatus to get to work. Like I was just tired. Like I had it up to here. So I think that breakup just came and just like exploded, and like it was like a bomb, and it set everything on fire. So I was back into the dark place again, and every day I remember waking up and just being like, God, yani, I have to live another day. Yani, I have to do this life thing again, like uko serious. So I just remember hating life, hating the fact that I had to wake up and go to work and do life and face the reality of being an adult. I was barely being paid anything. Like all my money would go into those 4 matatus that I was taking every day. I would barely be making anything. So yeah. So this time round, my friends, I think, were a bit more aggressive with just like supporting me, because I can be I got it, like I'm fine, like I see you, I hear you, but I'm gonna be okay. But this time they were like, Sharon, like let us support you, let us be there for you, and I thank God for that. So I remember one of the days I had come back home from work, I just went to my bedroom, and I remember I just like switched off the lights, and I just like went on my knees, and I just cried to God, like, you know, those painful deep cries. I just cried, and I was like, God, you know what? I am tired of living life. I'm tired of being alive. I'm just tired. Like I just cannot carry this heaviness anymore, and I need you to take this heaviness away. I need you to just like help me, God. And that, I can confidently say that that was the first time that I felt God's presence in my life. I encountered God for sure. And I remember just after just weeping, that wasn't even crying, like weeping. I even wonder how my parents, like no one in the house had me weep. I woke up off of the floor, and I felt an instant like lightness, like there was a weight that had been lifted off my heart and off my shoulders. And I was like, God, thank you, I feel you, I hear you, I'm going to be okay. And then so I just, took a day at a time. I continued to just do the best that I could do. I eventually ended up leaving that job. I eventually ended up processing the breakup. And I was okay. And so that was 4 years ago. And so I put out a video on YouTube, and it's still there if you want to find it. It's still there on my channel. And I put out a video, and I talked about my story with depression and finding happiness and all of that. Little did I know that that was just the beginning. Nilikuwa tu nimeanza. There was still a lot more that I was going to do. There was still a lot more work that I was going to do in order to get to the state of happiness. For the longest time, even after that depressive episode, I did not know what happiness felt like. I watched other people be happy and I was like, okay, I had like little moments of it, but I could not say that I was consistently happy over a long period of time. It got so bad that I tattooed the word happiness on my back, because I was like, this happiness thing, I want to feel it so bad, but I don't understand it at all. So I don't even know what the logic of that like tattoo was, but I just was like, yeah, just tattoo happiness on my back. But I really so badly wanted to understand this happiness thing, and I wanted to feel it as consistently as other people were feeling it. So I, at the same time, went back to school. I started doing my master's in psychology. So I started to understand myself a bit more. I started being more open to the concept of therapy. I read a lot of books. I watched a lot of videos, just trying to understand myself. I was actually doing it for myself more than anything. So I listened to a podcast that said, the guy who was being interviewed said that happiness is a choice. And I felt really triggered, because I was like, so unataka kuniambia that I have just not been choosing to be happy all this time? Yani, it's my fault that I'm not happy. I remember I was just like, what is this man saying? How is happiness a choice? And then I realized that actually what I interpreted it is that the depression or the feelings of depression that I was feeling was my choice. And I don't think that's what he was saying, because I don't think anyone chooses to be depressed. But I think what he was saying, that happiness is a choice, does have some sort of truth, because he even gave an example of a lady who he met, and she was 75 and she was still holding on to something that happened to her when she was 17. And this thing that happened to her when she was 17 had caused her to be unhappy for the 50 plus years that she had lived life ever since the thing happened. And I realized that I had started to make my pain my identity. I had started to make it be this thing that was just a thing I was meant to feel. And then I read a book and something stood out to me. And she said in the book, it's called Welcome Home by Najwa Zeiban. And she said, I hope I've said her name right. Come on, me butcher, I'm so sorry. But she said that this mountain that you're carrying, you are only meant to climb. And I realized that I had been carrying this like mountain of feelings all this time, and I was only meant to feel them and leave them. Right? So, and I think a lot of us who especially have had, mental health struggles, we make it our identity. We make it a thing that we carry on the rest of our lives. And so we're never able to find happiness. We're never able to release those feelings. And emotions and feelings are things that you're meant to allow to pass through you. You're meant to feel them, you're meant to acknowledge them, but at some point, you're meant to allow them to pass through you and let go of it. So I think when I started to just be like, okay, God, I know you have gotten me out of this deep, dark place, but I need you to help me process those feelings and help me let go of them. And that was very hard, because I started to realize that I'm not always the victim in situations. Sometimes I have put myself in situations that have led me to unhappiness, that have led me to not experience life in the fullest forms that I could. So all this to say that I do, to some extent, agree that you are in control of your own happiness. You are in control of your own life. And yes, there are factors that will come here and there, but at the end of the day, you can take charge of your own life. And just to share something that I find so profound, in the Bible, there's a story of Elijah, and how, if I think it's in First Kings, how he had gone through a lot. He was in the ghetto basically. Alikuwa amepitia mambo mob. And so he went and cried to God, and he told God, God, I'm tired. In fact, just kill me because mi nimechoka kuishi maisha. Right? And I think of that and I'm like, Elijah that prayed for drought and then there was no rain for 3 years. That same Elijah who then prayed and rain came. Do you know, like, Yani, I don't know if you guys understand, but like, Yani, I can just pray that God let there be drought for 3 years, and God actually hears me and there's drought for 3 years. That same Elijah was so tired of living life that he went to God and he cried to God and he prayed to God, God, kill me because I'm tired of being alive. I'm tired of living life. And so God sent him food, and an angel woke him up and he ate, and he told him, eat because you'll need the strength to keep going, right? So God sent him food, he sent him help basically. And then he went on the mountain, and usually in the Old Testament God would show up in like these big things. Like he would show up in, like with Moses, in a burning bush or an earthquake or a storm or all these things, right? But God showed up to Elijah in a small whisper, actually the Bible says in a small whisper. Elijah had God in a small whisper in the wind, right? And I think that's so powerful for me because the Bible also says that God is close to the brokenhearted. And every single time that I have been in that deep, dark place, that place of feeling broken, that place of feeling like, God, I can't do it anymore, God always shows up for me. And he always shows up for me in that small whisper that, okay, I hear you, I'm here, I'm comforting you, right? So if you're in that place, first of all, I want to say that it's not your fault. And I'm sorry if anyone ever made you feel like it's your fault that you're depressed or it's your fault that you have mental health struggles. I'm sorry. And it's okay that you're feeling those feelings, but I want you to know that you don't have to hold on to those feelings anymore. I want you to know that you're capable of removing yourself out of that dark place. You're capable of finding happiness again. You're capable of finding peace again. You're worth happiness. You are worthy of peace. You're worthy of feeling these positive feelings. And the best thing that you could ever do is just, go to God and tell him, God, by the way, I need you to help me. I need for these feelings to just go through me, but I don't want for them to stay any longer. So just going off of the name of the podcast, which is The Best Kept Secret. So my best kept secret about finding happiness, especially after depression or after going through a dark time, is something that I read on Oprah's book. It's called What I Know for Sure. It's by Oprah. And she said that what helped, because she's also gone through a lot of mental health struggles with, being raped, having a baby, then losing that baby. Like she's also gone through a lot. And she said that she has found a lot of happiness in gratitude. And at first I didn't understand that concept until I read the book a bit more, and she was explaining how you find gratitude in the small things, and that changes a lot. And I realized, especially for people who have had depression before, that's the best thing you could do, finding gratitude in the small things. So I started to practice gratitude by there was a time my shower in my old house didn't work for a while. So I was showering with cold water. Like I don't why was I not even getting a fundi to fix it? I don't remember, but like I just remember my shower wasn't working for a while, and it kept getting fixed, and it still wasn't working. And then finally the shower got fixed. I think I had to buy a new shower head, and it got fixed. And finally I had a hot shower, and I personally love hot, like super hot showers. I want to roast like the chickens in Sonford. I want to roast like that in the shower. And I remember that day I was like, you know what, God, thank you for this hot shower. And then there was a time when it was raining a lot, and I think we got like a period of sun for like a week. And sunlight therapy is actually a form of therapy. Therapy isn't just talking to someone. And I sat in that balcony and I told God, thank you for the sun. And I realized that I could be so obsessed with what is going wrong with my life, or I could be thankful for the little things that are going right. The fact that I have a hot shower after days of cold showers. The fact that there's sun after horrible weather for many, many weeks. And I've started to find gratitude in every small thing. Like I get somewhere on time, or on a road that usually has traffic. I'm like, God, thank you for getting me here on time. Thank you for all these small things that actually changes how your brain sees life. Because the stories that you tell yourself in your brain actually takes those stories and makes it a reality. So if you keep telling your brain life sucks and this sucks, everything sucks, then everything will suck. But if you're like, okay, I'm not doing the best right now, but I'm thankful for this, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, then your brain will start picking that up slowly by slowly, brick by brick, small thing after small thing. So I hope this has encouraged someone. I hope this has shown you that it's possible for you to live a full life after going through depression. Or if you're now in the depression, look at me, who went through this many years ago, now saying that I haven't figured everything out, but you are capable of being happy. So thank you so much for watching or for listening, if you're listening through our audio version of the podcast. And that's it for this episode. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Best Kept Secrets podcast. Bye.